Okay, hey guys. Uh, just a few thoughts on this Juneteenth. Um, Today is an important day in American history, the day that slaves were set free. I think it was June 19th, 1862. I could be wrong about the date. And the thing is, right now, we're having a relevant conversation about a topic called reparations. And I have a couple of opinions that are moldable and pliable now. I think we all need to be talking about this a lot. For me, at the end of the day, it kind of boils down like this. My rudimentary opinion is like this. I think that most of my family immigrated to the U.S. in the 40s. That would mean that I have no direct lineage that participated in slavery. Now, I'm not positive that's true. My mother's father, I don't know his lineage real good. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if my family all immigrated in the 40s and therefore we had nothing to do with slavery. It's a relevant point. I'm an American, and as an American, especially a white American, we have this original sin of slavery. We benefited, America as a whole, our nation as a whole, benefited off of slavery to the tune of trillions of dollars. Not only that, later there were institutionalized behaviors that held African Americans captive, not able to fully participate in the freedom that is the American dream, through minimum wage. Minimum wage laws exempted farm workers and maids and such. Predominantly in the South, that would have been African American men and African American women, exempt from being able to have the minimum wage. They were also exempted from participating in the Social Security system. Currently, the average American median household income is like $150,000 for white Americans, $17,000 for black Americans. Ponder that for a minute. The midpoint, $17,000. Half of African Americans are above that, half of African American families are below that. $150,000 for white families, half above, half below. And I thought about that for a minute, and I thought, damn, we only do 20 some odd thousand a year, but then we have a house, so that's combined income. So anyway, that's combined wealth. So anyway, I'm kind of babbling. The thing is, I as an American, it's important we talk about this and how reparations should look. Should they be financial? How can we hold generations of Americans financially responsible for a sin that was committed before we were born? Is that fair? I don't know. Will it pass constitutional muster? I don't know. Would it really benefit African American families to give them a check? I don't know. A lot of stuff I don't know. What I do know is that redlining, Google that, redlining, affected African Americans' abilities to own property, African Americans' ability to get properly educated. The quality of your education based on zip code is a big deal. Gerrymandering today, voter suppression, which went on under Jim Crow and continues today under the Republican Party. These are issues we need to talk about. Now, there's a proposal, I think SR 44, I'm not sure, check with me on that let me know if I'm wrong about that, but I think it's SR 44, which is simply pending legislation to open up a conversation about the effects of slavery on the African American community as a whole and ways to change that. How can we, as a nation, implement laws that help African American families buy homes, get job loans, become educated? How could we do things that would help a populace that we have historically stomped on, truly become equal with the rest of us. It doesn't matter if my family participated. It doesn't matter if I participated. We need to have the conversation. It's important we have the conversation. One of the things we could start doing is stop naming streets and schools and public spaces. We could stop glorifying the Confederacy with giving them the honor of a street name, or naming a park, or a stadium, or a team. We could start respecting and honoring our African American brothers and sisters by including iconic figures such as Rosa Parks and I've had a TBI, my brain goes blank. There's a bunch of names I know, there's a crap ton I don't know, and there's a reason I don't know them. I should know them, and I don't. But if we could start including those names, you know, on the $20 bill, that's a good start, right? Generally Lee Parkway, let's change that. Not to Martin Luther King, although he's a great man, but there are other iconic civil rights leaders who we could start naming streets after. And we could truly start looking at ways to create educational opportunities, entrepreneurial opportunities, home ownership opportunities, specifically to benefit African Americans, with the idea to help heal the wound, to truly start becoming an equal society. Now, I'm an idiot, and I don't know a lot about this subject. I'm swear to God, I'm, you know, I'd like to think I'm all woke, and I'm not. I'm just an idiot with my own bias and my own preconceived notions. But I do know we need to have the conversation, and it just kills me that it seems like white Republicans, especially Southern white Republicans, seem to be hanging up legislation solely designed to spur on the conversation. It's not like anybody is proposing, let's give $1 trillion check to the heirs of slaves. That's not, the SR 44, the pending legislation, is designed solely to begin the conversation so that we can work towards healing a wound. And it bothers me that white Southern Republicans are like, we don't need to do this, it's irrelevant, nobody alive today participated, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, I know this is long-winded, and I'm an idiot, and I really don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, and I need to know more. And the way I'm going to know more is if we start having a conversation. And I think we all need to support any legislation that allows us to have this conversation. And I think each of us need to examine our own bias. You know, when I see 3 African American men walking down the street towards me, I get nervous. The difference in now from 30 years ago is that now I ask myself why, and I ask myself, is it valid and is it justified? To be honest, if I see 3 white guys on the street, I get nervous. The difference is I know why. I've been robbed and mugged and beaten and trashed by white guys with tattoos. Never once has a violent crime been committed to me against an African American. So based on experience, why would I get nervous in that situation? So the difference for me today is I ask myself why. And I try and quiet those voices of bias within myself and more examine my own personal experience as to the why of my own bias. That's me. So anyway, we're long-winded. Kind of what I was getting around is this pending legislation that has to do with spurring on a conversation about reparations. And today, the day we celebrate the supposed end of slavery, It would be, I think, if I understand what Juneteenth is about, today would be a good day for all of us to look within ourselves at our own bias, to ask ourselves, why would anybody in their right mind fight to stop legislation that is simply designed to spur on conversation? We need to start healing. We need to start proactively healing. We need to acknowledge some wrongs. We need to acknowledge some personal bias. We need to stop honoring those who wanted slavery to continue. The Confederacy had nothing to do with states' rights. That's all bullshit. It had everything to do with the continued financial superiority bought at a slave auction with the purchase of an African American. That's what the Confederacy was. That's what that whole war was about. And we need to be honest about that. And we need to have the conversation. And we need to be true about it. And we need to honor and respect the horror that our nation did and inflicted on an entire race of people. And we need to start proactively working towards mending and healing those wounds. So again, what I started with was, I think most of my family immigrated here in like the early to mid 40s, 1940s, way after slavery ended. So if that's true, if I have no lineage involved in slavery, it doesn't matter. I'm an American citizen, and as such, it's my responsibility to spur on healing and inclusion and to help continue setting the stones designed to bring about full equality and inclusion within our nation. And I think that's going to start with conversation. So anyway, blah, 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 I'm babbling. Love you guys. Have these conversations within your own family. Have them with your neighbor. Be bold. Be loud. Right now, let's start healing. All right, that's it. Logging out. See you guys later.